Hi, everyone. My name is David Delafield. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for Swedish Medical Group. And today I'm going to walk you through Swedish's story with Tableau and the experience that we've had building a platform from scratch with Tableau as our primary analytics and reporting platform. Quick overview. I'm going to do a little bit of background on Swedish Health Services. I'm going to walk through the real high-level story with what process we went through, building up Tableau and all the governance and all the pieces around that and where we're at now. I'm going to do a quick demo with screenshots and then talk through some of the key takeaways. Swedish Health Services is a hospital system of about 5 hospitals. We have a medical group with roughly 1,000 providers. We're over $6 billion in gross revenue. We have over 8,500 employees. We're also affiliated with the larger Providence system with over 25 hospitals and 2,500 providers. Right now, Providence also uses Tableau. Swedish uses Tableau. They're separate for the purposes of platforms, but we both do use Tableau. We both have server licenses and a whole bunch of desktop licenses. Key guiding principles for Swedish, and these are really, really important, and these are just some of the high-level principles that we use to try to set the boundaries when we were thinking about how to start building this platform, because we were really starting from scratch. We're trying to do something completely different around reporting and analytics. We believe that a lot of companies are going to spend a lot of time, money, resources, and technology, but really struggle to create a competitive advantage over their peers when it comes to reporting and analytics. And so we wanted to recognize that up front and make sure we spend a little bit more time thinking about not just the technology, but all the other things that go into making Tableau or Microsoft or SAP or any other analytic reporting solution successful or not successful, and really try to study at least a little bit why companies struggled to really get the transformation that they were hoping when they kicked off these kind of initiatives. This is a really hard thing to do right, and it's not a technology solution. So as great as Tableau is, as great as other platforms are, the technology and Tableau is really one piece of this larger puzzle that we have to figure out to actually get adoption, drive this stuff through operations, and make it more than just a bunch of pretty reports, but something that actually transforms the company. And that was a big piece of what we were trying to do at Swedish. Big principle for us is we have all these siloed orgs historically, and every organization has people and just naturally in parts of organizations that have collective egos. And I think one of the ways to make this kind of effort successful is to recognize those barriers and try to put governance and things in place that can help you not just do things in the silo in IT or the business or any other group, but really find a way to be able to work across those groups to get the transformation that you need to make this successful. Simple governance, which I'll talk about a little bit later, is a primary key to what went into making this successful at Swedish. The technology, again, is just one piece, but getting the governance in place and participation and putting processes in place so you don't have a massive expansion of reports and all kinds of custom stuff and lack of branding and a whole bunch of things that don't achieve the goals we're trying to achieve. So governance and figuring out how to get that kind of structure in the organization was a key piece to make this work. And we looked at a lot of different technologies, and we did find that we believe that Tableau was the easiest technology to be able to build this integrated healthcare platform. We don't use Tableau as a visualization tool in isolation. We don't do a lot of desktop work or ad hoc work. We used it to build an entire platform that replaced SAP and Business Objects and Clarity and all these other enterprise solutions. And that's a little bit unique, I think, compared to people how people typically use Tableau, which is a little bit more isolated to visualizations and more custom ad hoc work. So Tableau and the infrastructure and everything we built around it is the only analytics and reporting solution for the entire organization. Okay. So before I hop into the Swedish story, I just wanted to make one comment on governance and what problem we were actually trying to solve. And this is a really simple illustration of what I think is a really important key concept in how we made this work and got the adoption that we've been able to get. The top here is a little dramatic, but what it basically says is that from my experience, most companies spend a majority of the time when they're trying to do something like this thinking about the BI, the data warehouses, the technology, the reports, the analysts, getting demos from technology companies, going through the acquisition process and the procurement process, and really very little time on governance and thinking about how the organization is structured, the alignment, the customer experience, how we're going to actually use this platform, whether it's Tableau or anything else, to be able to shrink the number of reports, lower the cost, lower the number of resources, and really create a simplification, a line of sight for the organization. We spent a majority of our time on the bottom here, maybe not 90%, but something pretty significant, working on that governance piece, figuring out how we're going to have this be physician and business-led, getting them developing and dictating to us what problems they're trying to solve, and then creating the governance and committees and all the other stuff that goes into simplifying, lowering cost, and eliminating as many duplicative or non-important reports as possible. Okay, so this piece here is really important to our message in that we think most places that I've been spend more time than they should on the technology piece and less time on the governance piece, and we tried to flip that around here at Swedish. So our quick story, and this is a very crude, high-level demonstration of the process that we went through. And this is obviously a very simplified version, but I think it's important to walk through at a high level. So building the technical infrastructure is what, anytime you go off on an exercise like this of building a reporting and analytics solution, you're going to have to build the foundational pieces on the technical side. So getting all your data sources in, getting them organized, getting that put together in a way that's reasonable to maintain, whether it's a data warehouse, a smaller data mart, whatever it is. We went through that same exercise with a handful of people on our technical team. It wasn't a huge effort, but it was very complicated at times because of the number of data sources coming in from internal and external sources. The user layer, and this is what we use Tableau for. So we created a one-stop shop for all the reporting and analytics with a single launch page, which I'll show you in a little bit. And we went through a selection process to look at Cognos and Business Objects and MS Analytics and a bunch of different competitors, more traditional enterprise competitors, and we ended up choosing Tableau, and we've been very happy with the decision. And so we used Tableau to build this entire common branded user layer over the top of the technical infrastructure. Okay, this was probably three to four resources that also have other jobs, but they built a majority, if not all, of the user layer in Tableau. Again, key piece, we spent a long time on the governance, so I'll go over in more detail on this in just a second, but setting up the committees, getting buy-in from everyone, going back and forth with business users, doing a lot of user training, very, very hands-on, very nimble back and forth with users trying to solve specific problems. Okay. And then probably the most important step in this is the operations. How do you define a single report to solve a problem? How do you get people to buy into it? and how do you drive it down to operations and align it with compensation and incentives and a lot of other stuff that's really important in the organization. So we were able to, or we're in the process of linking the work that was done in Tableau and the governance process to the operations of the organization, including compensation, including regular cadence for viewing every month with clinics and providers and hospitals. And this is a really important key piece. So any of these in isolation, and I've been at companies where they really do one of these or maybe two of these, but a lot of companies stop short of completing the entire cycle. And so if you stop short at the user layer, the technical infrastructure, you're going to get a pretty common setup, which is a lot of reports, a lot of cost, expanding cost, and a lot of custom ad hoc work without a whole lot of visibility in the organization. But we've been able to complete this cycle using Tableau as a key piece of it, but not the only piece. So a little more detail on the steps that it took to build this. So this is a real high-level look at our infrastructure. It'll look like almost any company out there that's using Tableau. We don't do anything out of the ordinary. On the left-hand side, we built a data warehouse that contains a lot of different data sources from around the organization, from our electronic medical record system, external data, costing data, finance, revenue cycle, every piece of data that's useful or valuable to Swedish or a healthcare organization, we put in one spot so that we could build that user layer in Tableau over the top. We have a common, very common analytical data store setup, an extract process, and nothing too unique about the way we have Tableau server set up. We built, over the course of about 6 months, we built this entire infrastructure with about 3.0 FTEs, which is a very small investment, I think, for a $6 billion plus organization to build a single solution like this. So we felt like it was a really efficient process. Tableau was a great partner in being able to get the server and the infrastructure set up, and then we built most of the data warehouse and handled most of the data work internally to Swedish. The user layer, and these are screenshots from our platform. You can see over here on the left-hand side, this is a single one-stop shop for all the analytics and reporting in the organization. So along the left-hand side here, you can see these are all the functional and business areas of the company. Okay, so all of this is click on, click off, and I'll show you a demo in just a second. And this allows you to get to all the reports and views that have been built in Tableau. This landing spot here was also built in Tableau, not using normal functionality, but we were able to get it to work. So every single user in the organization, whether you're in the hospital, whether you're a physician, whether you're an executive, all go to this one spot to get all the information that they need across the entire company. So all the other ad hoc reports, all the other chaotic spreadsheets, all the other manual work, this is for the most part all automated. All the other stuff went away, and everyone goes here to be able to get everything. So that's a huge win by itself for the organization to have a common place to be able to go to get all this stuff, and Tableau is powering a big piece of that. On the right-hand side here, you can see one example, and I'll show you a live example here in a second, of a scorecard that's under the physician management section. This is a whole set of metrics for a primary care physician, okay, that span everything from finance to quality metrics to patient experience, you can see here in the middle, to basic production type metrics. We've also gamified it a little bit to allow us to, in certain ways, rank providers within the organization. We have a lot of demographic information. So these are all metrics and information that are vital to a healthcare organization moving forward, and achieving these are worth money, better quality, better patient care. And so the governance process that went into aligning with this view that was built in Tableau was around getting agreement and buy-in from all the physicians and the administrators and everyone in the company on these metrics. Okay? So the governance process is very important in this. Putting this scorecard out there by itself wouldn't be valuable at all, and it would just be an expense. But getting buy-in and driving it down to operations was the key to making something like this work. Okay. We also have a consolidated help center here, so everyone also can go to the same spot to be able to get help information and help functions, which makes it very easy for people to be able to understand how to get to stuff. Vantage is just the internally branded name that we used. We combine it with a lot of other stuff. It's mostly powered by Tableau. There's some other stuff in here, but Vantage is the internally branded name, but a majority of the views are built in Tableau with a SQL Server backend. It was built almost completely internally by full-time FTEs. We had a little bit of consulting help in the beginning, but for the most part, this was an internally built platform and an internally built application. And we have all local full-time FTEs now supporting, maintaining, and expanding the platform. One really important, consistent branding is really important. So every view looks exactly the same. All the sliders and filters are in the exact same spot on most views. The help and information is in the same spot. So even though there's 20 different data sources feeding into the user layer, to the end user, it looks like one completely consistent branded platform. And that's a really important point in what made this successful. You can see a couple other screenshots here, and I'll show you an example when we actually hop in there. Okay. Governance, these are some of the key pieces for governance. I won't spend too much time on this. We set up physician committees, executive committees. We had a lot of on-the-ground training. We let the business users really drive the process. So rather than us building reports that we think are important or useful, we tag-teamed with the business to be able to build these reports, go back and forth until the data is accurate, until the view looks the way we want. We control the branding and what the view ultimately looks like, but they have buy-in from the beginning on most of this stuff, and it makes the operationalizing of it much easier. And then strict branding and review process before any review or reports or views are built. This is an example of operational alignment. Okay, these aren't real numbers, but this is an example of what a compensation scheme would look like around this. So this is a primary care bonus program, and all the metrics over here on the right-hand side are completely aligned to the scorecard that you saw here. Okay. So this scorecard that was built and agreed upon in the governance process was built in Tableau, but then aligned with a proposed compensation plan for those same metrics. Okay? So that's the important alignment between the technical, the user layer, the governance, and actually operationalizing it. And Tableau was a big piece of making that happen and making it visual, but there's a lot of other pieces involved in that process. Key takeaways, and there's quite a few more than this, but purchasing technology as a solution oftentimes leads to a lot of cost and lack of alignment and a bigger mess than when you started. And so I think if we just use Tableau or any other technology to take our chaotic spreadsheets and move them now into a better looking chaotic world, or our business objects reports, and now we're moving into Tableau, but we don't address the governance or the cost or the simplification, all we're doing is moving one mess from one spot to another. So a key takeaway in the experience that we went through is that it really has to be aligned around simplification and alignment and the governance pieces and not just the technology. Otherwise, the return on investment just isn't going to be there. Focus on governance and simplification. How do we align the organization around less data and fewer reports? Tableau is a fantastic tool for building an infrastructure like this. We weren't exactly sure how the performance and the scalability and things like that would work, but it's actually worked out really well, and I think it's a great case study for not only visualization and niche visualization, which can be useful, but using Tableau to build a platform for an entire organization and competing directly with the Microsofts and the SAPs and the Oracles of the world. And again, the goal is more clarity and simplification, not less. Okay. So I'm going to hop in and do a real quick demo, just so you can see what this looks like actually live. I'm not going to go through too many views, but I can send more screenshots if need be. So this is the live platform, okay? So this is live right now. We have about 12 to 1,300 users. We average anywhere between 500 and 900 views a day, which is a pretty significant amount of traffic to be coming through here. On the left-hand side, you can see all the way we've organized the entire company. And so one really important key point is that this isn't just finance, it's not just revenue cycle, it's not just physicians, it's not just hospitals or quality or anything else. It's really a one-stop shop for everything, okay, including accountable care and a lot of really important things that are coming up in healthcare. So you can see along the left-hand side, all of these are click on, click off. Okay, so if you click on physician management, you can see a real simple organization of all the views in physician management. So these are all the things that our governance process has determined are the metrics and the things that we want to execute on as an organization. Anything that's not in here, we try not to focus on or put any resources or time towards, and that's part of the governance process, keeping certain things out if they're not a big enough lever in the organization. So all of these thumbnails have simple hover-overs, so it's meant to be very user-friendly, very simple for a non-technical user to take advantage of, which is another key important point. We're not building this for just analysts or highly technical users. We're building this for the other 99% of users that need something a lot more simple, easier to understand, red, green, very simple targets so they know what they're being expected to execute on. Okay. So any of these thumbnails, okay, if you click on them, it opens up another view. Okay. And it pulls up whatever the view is. So this is an organization of the physician scorecards. Okay. So you can see all of our physicians here organized on the left, and this is every primary care physician in the company. All the clinics are on the right-hand side here. Okay, so you can see that if I click off a clinic, okay, I can get specifically to the provider. Again, the goal is to make it as easy as possible for non-technical users. If I want to be able to search for a specific provider, I can do a very simple search and find Luann Chen, okay, which was the example I showed you earlier. I can close out of that. And I can also, as everyone knows, print directly from here from the scorecard, okay? So if I pull up the same screenshot I had earlier as a demo, I pull up Luann, and I can see that exact scorecard, okay? She can print this off, or her clinic can print it off. Okay, very simple PDF, ready to print and you can walk into a meeting and have a discussion around where this provider is on our current status relative to targets that the organization has set. Okay? You can close out all these, and you're always back to the single portal. Okay? Under physician management, we have a handful of other views that I won't go into specifically, but they're all organized and branded in the same way. Okay? We also have under finance, okay, you can get very high-level executive overviews and scorecards here, which is where our executives come to get the scorecards. You can get financial information, a lot of other stuff that's really important to the organization. You can see down at the bottom here, we have perioperative services, which are just surgical services. And these are 3 views that have huge financial return on them for the providers that are responsible for fixing issues that we have. So block utilization is how efficient are our operating rooms. And so block utilization allows our physicians to set targets around efficiency and be able to increase the throughput, have more surgeries, get more patients through the door. Okay? But all of these views in every single one of these sections is branded exactly the same and have a very consistent look and feel and user experience. Okay? So the combination of this front end with the back end and all the governance and everything to set up the initial release when we went live was 6 to 9 months, and 3 technical and 3 front-end report developers, okay? We already had the server set up, so we spent no new capital or hardware cost other than upgrading the server, and we hired no new FTEs to be able to build this entire platform. So I think Tableau was a fantastic solution to be able to create this complete enterprise-wide platform that retired essentially other much larger enterprise solutions like Business Objects, retired most of the Clarity reports, which is Epic, which is the company's EMR, retired a lot of other kind of ad hoc analytic solutions, and everyone's, for the most part in the organization, rallied around this one solution. So I really appreciate everyone listening and being on. If you have any questions, my email is right here, and we're always looking to expand the Tableau community around this. We've coordinated with a lot of health systems around the country, and we'd love to be able to loop more people into that collaboration. Thank you very much.